warm welcome to Africa Light TV. My name is Jacob Junior Mungesi, and with me I'm with one of the prominent journalists we know in this country here, prominent political journalist, Mr. Mwanguhya. And Mr. Mwanguhya, I've been observing you for some good time doing political shows on, should I call it on a political media channel, should I call it, because I think in Uganda here it is NBS that is so much well known for political content. And I have a question. The fact that the government is the biggest sponsor of most of these media houses, I thought maybe you stand that they stand that threat of maybe not maybe publicizing and talking about certain things, especially those that are against the government, maybe showing the government weaknesses. How do you do it? Because I always see like the front line people come there open-minded and they speak everything. How do you handle it at NBS?
Well, the thing is, the government is not the major sponsor. It's the biggest advertiser.
Biggest. Oh yeah, true.
Yes. And that needs to be created a distinction about what government does.
Oh yes.
But as a young journalist, I would tell you that what journalists call censorship, or what we call self-censorship, is actually self. If you set your own limits, you'll be defined by those limits. If you expand your horizons and are able to or want to push the envelope as far as you can, you'll be able to create the space that you want. But what makes the distinction? The distinction is, are you discussing fact? Are you being professional? Are you being ethical? If you're able to do that, then you're able to navigate. I mean, why would somebody complain about a talk show or a story in a newspaper or on radio if you have cross-checked your facts, if you're asking the right questions, if you're not biased, if you're being ethical? That's a key definer of what space we create for ourselves. We limit our own spaces or we expand our own spaces depending on how we do our job.
Okay. And just a few moments ago we were talking about the traditional media phasing out almost, and that is to be particular the newspapers and maybe even the TVs, the televisions. But how do you do it at Next Media? The fact that Frontline in particular as a show is one of those most followed political shows, if not the most followed and the most viewed. How do you do it? Should we say that is it the content that attracts people? Is it how we take Next Media as being a big brand, or what do you think is the real cause of all that?
I think everybody needs to not be scared by new forms of media. YouTube, TikTok, and all the others, X, former Twitter, WhatsApp, all these. What we need to do is to harness and leverage the potential they give us. They are only available to expand the horizons. Now, how does a traditional talk show, like the Frontline, for example, manage to squeeze space through this crowd of new forms of social media? It's the content it has. It's the quality of panelists that you have. It's the quality of preparation and investment that you put into it that is going to define it and get people sitting down for 2 hours and an extension on Afro Mobile to be able to continue listening. When you get people, I'm always humbled when you get people calling you and saying, I need to listen to that last 20 minutes. That bit that you take to Afro Mobile, we need to be able to hear it. And then you tell them, no, just download the Afro Mobile app. It comes with a small cost. Pay that small cost if you think it gives you value. And many people come back to you and say, for me, I started watching on Afro Mobile and I ended on Afro Mobile. Now there, you're leveraging new forms of media blended with traditional media to deliver what is the most important thing, that is content.
Okay. Now there is another thing here that also we were talking about a few minutes ago about some journalists being harassed by maybe the security operatives because of who they are reporting about. You find that when they are reporting about a particular political candidate, it is okay and safe. But now when a journalist, for example, with the young ones, there is a threat that we are trying to get, that maybe just in case you're working for a certain media house and they assign you to gun maybe maybe report about a particular political maybe candidate, you will fear to go there because you are assured of maybe even the security operatives harassing you. And I can maybe even give an example of some journalists who are even almost leaving maybe these media houses, some even going to exile. I saw Mordecai Karisa. I believe he's going to exile. Is all about these political affiliations and so forth. I understand we're not supposed to be partisan, but then how comes that sometimes these journalists, when they're reporting about particular people, that is the way they're mistreated?
You see, there are two things. We work in a political environment, so we must be sensitive to certain things. But the most important thing for young journalists out there, first, conquer your fear. Two, be professional. If you're professional, there are things you'll say, Mr. Ngesi, that, and you realize that this journalist is not acting professional. He's actually becoming partisan. He's allowing his bias to override him. That will attract attention that is not good. Number two, if you receive one phone call and jump and fail to sleep for the next 3 days, it means that, you know, like they say there's a story of if someone threatens you a little and you get scared, the next time they will threaten you more because their intention is to make you run away.
True.
The intention is of those people who threaten you is to stop you from doing what you do. Once you allow them that room to threaten you, they will succeed. And when you look at an example and say, the other journalist fled to exile, the other one abandoned, the other one went to do something else, then others will begin from a position of fear, not a position of saying, what have I done wrong? I have had those experiences when someone calls you and says, you know, they want to intimidate you, they want to threaten you, and the only thing you say, did I get anything wrong? Did I not try to reach out to get a balanced story? Is my story untrue? Is what I'm doing wrong? Once you push back, you'll earn the respect of those security people. You'll earn the respect of those people who are powerful in government to say, what this person has done is doing it for the profession, is doing it fairly, is doing it professionally, and they will ease pressure on you. I worked with colleagues before who were intimidated. Some ran to exile, some abandoned journalism, some went to do other things, and they asked, but you never get threatened, you never get taken to court. I said, taken to court. I won a court case not long ago where we had been sued when I was bureau chief at the East African. But because we were sure about our facts, even when they went to court, we didn't panic. And I appeared before a judge and defended. And my colleague who wrote the story, we co-authored the story and I edited it, also appeared and said, our story is based on facts, we have evidence, we know what we're talking about. And we won the case. And if you win one case, or if you're confident about your journalism, you're going to withstand intimidation, threats, harassment. But also the other thing is, don't allow yourself to get compromised, either by your beliefs or by money. Because the moment someone finds a weakness in you, that you take a little money from somebody, they will use that against you permanently. And that will kill your journalism. Because the moment you do something they don't agree with, they're going to remember the 20K they gave you, the 50K they gave you, the 100K they gave you, and sometimes even the 10K they gave you. And that will impede your journalism. And I think it's as simple as that. If you sail above that, you'll be able to grow your journalism. And actually, reach a moment where you're able to earn out of that journalism because you're being treated.
Oh, wow. I love that. Maybe lastly, let me engage you on something about these 17 SDGs, but particularly just one I want to talk about, that is SDG 3, good health and wellness. And I want to ask you, as a senior journalist who has been in this field for some good time, like how far do you think the media has tried to engage the community when it comes to this SDG 3, good health and wellness? And if it has not been done yet, what do you think can be done?
Well, I wouldn't just limit myself to SDG 3. All the SDGs, they are a well-intentioned program. And our responsibility as media is to push for good, to aspire for good. So, by reporting on it, creating space for it, I do not think the media has done enough. We could do better. We could do more on the question of wellness. We relegate some of that to the back pages. If I was to use the analogy of a newspaper, we relegate that to secondary stories in the lineup for TV news. We are not discussing that on talk shows like the Frontline, even when it's a political talk show.
Yeah.
And we think that some other space should be created for that. And we have tended to cede that space to civil society actors, especially NGOs, service delivery NGOs, to be able to push that agenda. Maybe we need to get a little bit more into that, because these are same audiences that we need to have better health.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Mwanguhya. Maybe before Mwanguhya.
Yeah.
Now, before I let you go, I just want you to maybe just like in a few seconds to just send some simple advice to young journalists like me who are planning to also stand in the political field that you are in and that you're soon maybe even leaving, because I know maybe even you're about to retire. You are the upcoming. So I just want to send some simple advice to such young journalists.
Number one, don't send the older guys into retirement.
No, it's expected.
Allow them space to stay in the newsroom and I mean stay around journalism, so it shouldn't be made to feel like we are occupying space.
Yeah.
And number two is no newsroom is going to invest in you, Mr. Ngesi. You're going to invest in yourself, and you're going to invest in yourself and every other young journalist out there. Invest in yourself. Know what you're talking about. Have your facts. Have more knowledge about the subject than the people you're trying to communicate to. And always have it at the back of your mind that there are people out there who are a lot more knowledgeable about everything we report about, everything we discuss, and they're watching us, they're reading us, they're listening to us. And they're saying, look at what this guy is talking about. He doesn't know a thing. Don't get into that. Don't allow yourself to get into that space where someone says, this person has a medium, but they don't know what they're talking about. The moment you do that, it will pay off. And don't limit. I'm glad you work for one media house. You are establishing your own platform in which you expand your horizons. Be able to do that. I have worked in, I started in radio, worked in a newspaper, up to a top leadership position in the newspaper. I have worked for online. I have worked on TV. So the opportunities are there, especially with the coming into space of social media, spaces that you control. Young journalists should use those platforms to redefine themselves and keep getting better. Keep getting better. Both in education, improve your education. There's no one going to do that for you. What you're able to do, don't limit yourself on what, or in particular spaces. Yeah? Try to do many things. As you grow older, you realize that this is where my niche is, and that will define you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Mwanguhya. That has been me, Jacob Mwanguhya, here on Africa Live TV at the same time. Thank you so much, and I hope to meet Mr. Mwanguhya soon and again have some conversation.
Anytime.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.